make sure this is working.
Just just helps to so people start the game, and then it takes us a minute or two to get into it, and everybody's
Yeah, if
wondering
I
why is
open
it going backwards.
an insane item really fast, yeah, because most of these people
Yeah,
have not seen a GBA Vania or a Soten or whatever, or potentially not even Soten. So,
yeah,
um,
because like if that first chest is on Gatsuto, we pretty much have to acknowledge it right away. So
yeah, I'd say like
like,
I'll turn it over to you. You can explain it, and then at the end just be like, and if we get when we find the other forms of movement, we'll cover those as they come up or whatever like that.
yeah, okay, so
Do you want to do that real quick? Do you want to practice it?
yeah, so we'll
Okay.
blah 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 blah
Blah
blah
blah
go
blah.
through the spiel.
And I'm gonna have Yeehaw explain the basic movement option that we start with right now before we get started, and then we'll do a countdown.
All right, thanks for having me, everybody. So the first thing you're going to see Tony do when he hits whatever key he hits to get this going is he's going to turn around, backdash, crouch, and then continually backdash and crouch until he finds some other form of movement. This form of movement, we just call it backdash canceling. It's the simplest name we've got. Is significantly faster than just walking forward at any point in the game. Uh, it's generally pretty easy to do. You've got a pretty wide window on it, so if you decide to start playing this game, even kind of slow backdash canceling still blows walking out of the water in terms of speed. So now that we got that little bit, because we can get that first chest you see on screen, that could be anything. That could be something we need for the end game. That could be a pile of junk. We just need to get that out of the way right away so you understand what's going on.
Yeah, we know
Tony, you ready?
we know it's a blue item, so that's good. But yeah, I'm ready. So we're gonna count it down here. And I'll let you do the Tetris countdown.
In 3, 2, 1, Bloodstained.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, anytime you see a blue chest, it's usually not the most important thing, and this is the backdash canceling we were talking about. Usually, when you see the scarf kind of hanging up at that near 45-degree angle, you're pretty much on the best backdash rhythm. Because it really is a rhythm. There's depending on how you're playing, what you're playing, your control input is. There's different ways of achieving that rhythm. Some of the console players like or completely rebind things. I cheat with an Xbox Elite Series 2. A lot of the keyboard players just sit there and basically hammer back and forth on things. It's very freeform.
I have my binds. I have 2 buttons swapped. I think it's blue shard and backdash. I think I have swapped. So my backdashing is on the face button as opposed to a shoulder button. I think that's default. Thing is, when you have the game on Steam, it saves all of your config. So
yeah.
When I get there live and I'm playing on a GOG version, oh, do we have 100? Yeah. All right. Sweet.
100% up. So this is one of the weird things about the randomizer. In the base game, those enemies that Tony just killed, the Mortes, they don't have a shard. In randomizer, they can have a shard, and sometimes that shard can have a 100% drop rate.
Yeah, only for them.
Only for them. So unless we got ridiculously lucky with 2 in a row, Bolide Blast is very strong what the game calls directional shard. If you noticed earlier where
we opened the door,
the player character was holding their hand at the thing. It's kind of showing it right now.
It's 100.
You use the right 100%. And then this is a 100% drop always. This first one, Katana Expertise, is not the best of the shards.
Yeah, normally it's like a flame cannon. When you play the base game, you have to use it to open the pathway to the next area. It's kind of like trains you on how to use purples. So I'm just making sure I get 9 of these before.
Yeah, I'll make very sure we get 9 of those because Bolide Blast is a pretty good directional shard. Now that other shard that dropped, and this is like the Souls mechanic, what some of the other Castlevania style games use. That yellow shard is basically just a passive shard. You can equip one of them without upgrading them to a different type of shard. You probably won't see that in this one. Basically, that one just it was Katana Expertise, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
It basically just makes any katanas you use a little bit better. So, probably one more copy of Bulleye Blast here on the boat, and we've got some firepower.
Yeah, it costs a lot of MP, but it does a lot of damage. So we'll use it on bosses. And yeah, there's 3 types of glasses that we can find in accessory chests, and we never find the one we want. So
yeah, actually, there's 4.
Oh yeah, there's nose glasses. That's right. Yeah,
there's sunglasses, nose glasses,
gauge glasses,
convex glasses, gauge glasses, and Jeebles glasses.
But convex glasses don't spawn in chest locations.
Really?
They're craft only, I think.
I hope so, because I think I saw one in a chest. Maybe my save file was corrupted.
Or if you play like
the
other mod, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, save file corruption is a thing. This game, let's just say it's a labor of love. Oh, that's a good accessory.
Yep. Could be for later. Oh, hello.
Another. Oh, okay. So we are in big time. That dimension shift shard is one of the 2 things required to beat this game. It's also a very fancy form of movement, a very loud form of movement too, because Miriam yells every time she uses it.
Yeah, like some other attacks.
Yeah, it's exactly what it appears. It's just a short-range teleport. You can skip a few walls, make some extra checks early, and it is a required progression movement. So we're halfway there. The problem is it could be literally anywhere in the game. The other thing we're looking for could be literally anywhere else in the game.
Yeah, and the reason we need it is because there's a wall in front of the last boss that just is solid, and there's no other way to get through it. So
you have to teleport through it. Now, 166 damage. That is a level 9 Bolide Blast. This boss only has about what was it, around 700 or 800 HP?
Oh! We're keeping this and using it at the marathon.
Accelerator. Accelerator. Blue shards kind of fundamentally alter how. Okay, that was only a level 8 Bolide Blast earlier. Blue shards kind of fundamentally alter how Miriam works. Accelerator is hands down the best one. It consumes MP to, as you can see, greatly increase your speed. And if you're trying to go fast, there's nothing better than actually just going fast.
Yeah, it turns you into the Flash. So, as I like to say,
we just had Aegis plate eyeglasses. So we're checking the crafting and breakdown menus because there is a crafting system.
6 Alchemist, and we have glasses as well.
Okay, so if we find Alchemist or it's in the shop, we have ourselves a real easy time.
No waystone. Okay.
Good food options in the shop.
Plume. If I knew how to do the canceling, I'd buy shoes.
Wrong glasses in shop.
Yeah, not much to write home about, but good enough.
Yeah, I tend to play the other preset that we normally use, and in that preset, there's never any chance of seeing a blue that early. So it's very strange to me to see Accelerator at this point in the game.
Yeah, actually, since we're gonna go so fast here, if you want to explain the differences between the main category and this max randomized category, feel free to do that.
The primary difference between the 2 presets that we use are actually literally just 2 selections on the create a seed scene, which is pretty much the same thing where you saw Tony have the seed number up. It's the other option. For what we call same type shuffle. Man, that accelerator is so fast. For what we call same type shuffle, instead of picking what would be the maximum range for changing everything around, you pick retain type, and I believe it's either the bottom or the top option for whatever's above or below that one. I'm blanking on what the name is. And the major difference there is instead of anything could be anywhere, everything in the game is shuffled within its own pool of what could be within the game. So
It's retain method is the name of it. Yeah.
Or no, it would be retain type.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying the option below it that you were
Oh,
talking
it's
about.
below retain method. Okay.
Yeah, it's retain types on top, retain method is second. So method is like the key item will, you know, drop in the same place a key item will, but not necessarily what you. It doesn't work correctly.
Yeah, it just doesn't work right. There are things about the randomizer that just don't work correctly, and you have to dodge a lot of them.
Yeah, this is built into the game, so you know the logic is not perfect.
That basically max chaos is what it says it is. Max chaos, same type shuffle, locks everything within the same grouping as long as things don't get broken, and you spend a lot of time pretty much focused on just the purple shards and trying to and checking the key item positions. The purple shards, you're obviously looking for a dimension shift, which we have already in this seed, and the key item progressions are almost always in a chest. You do get a couple of them in a weird spot, like when he stopped in a crafting bit with the guy's name is Johannes, and give him a potion. That's usually a key item in the base game or same type shuffle. Man, just run those toads over.
Yeah, and I'm really just killing stuff to see what it drops, to see if it drops anything, and if it drops something, hoping it's Alchemist, because with Bolide Blast and Dimension Shift, we can do everything as long as we have Infinite MP, which I already know where that is too. So
now that MP max pickup is still worth grabbing, even if we do get that MP, at least to a certain point. Even if we do get that thing, oh, here's a purple.
Okay, and BGK dropped Ectoplasm, so he has Alcahest.
Yeah.
Alright, so this is a great point in time to do some donos and announcements, and then when we're done with that, we'll come back in, because I'm just going to be killing the same guy over and over again until he drops 6 of this item that we need.
Once we get to the best spot for it, which is only a couple rooms away, so definitely donation time.
Yeah. There's one. I can check these. I have Dimension Shift. Don't I have a better? Yeah, I have a bunch of better swords.
Alright, and we can just assume that donations will be over by now.
Yep. So we have 2.
Right. 2, we're getting a little more attack. Okay, that's a little concerning.
Yeah, let's see what's up here.
We did shuffle the teleport and waypoint rooms, and we got 2 of these right by each other, so that's going to have a slight effect towards the end game. But it'll be fairly easy going to get there.
Okay, 3. So we have a conundrum here because we're only looking for the sword that we need, and so that could be at any item location in the entire game. So we can kind of go in any direction because I also have a Dimension Shift, so I can go anywhere in the entire castle, except for underwater, sort of.
Yeah,
there's ways.
There's ways, but it's just a lot easier to get one of the
things that let you go underwater.
Things that is really intended to let you go underwater, or the thing that isn't intended to let you go underwater, but basically lets you go underwater.
Right.
That's what we get for messing with gravity.
Yep.
Drop ethers.
Okay, yeah, make sure I
two
only have
more.
4.
We don't have waystones, so it might be a better idea to go through the boss and work your way over that way.
Yeah, we can go in either direction. We can go left or right. But we're going to go till we find a warp room. It's just a matter of... I'm doing the calculus in my head right now because I have some time to thinking about how many item checks are along the way in each place. And how much MP I'm going to waste with them. Well, I'm going to be able to have infinite dimension shifts once we find a warp room. So I'm also thinking about how many warp room / save room checks are there in each direction. I think it makes sense to go left because we want to end up at the top of the castle anyway, and this is technically a little bit faster way to end up at the top of the castle.
Yeah, I believe you can stun lock him as long as you have enough MP to do it.
Yeah, you can get one more.
But, yeah, that's at least phase 2. So this boss specifically is a major pain point in the base game. He's a very early damage check. He shouldn't be a damage check this early, but he if you don't know what you're doing, he will just murk you. It's not fun.
Yeah, it's old school Castlevania.
It's very old school Castlevania. I've talked with several people that have run into it, and they've literally quit the game because of how hard he is in the base game. In Randomizer, we tend to have enough stuff to not really have to worry too much about it.
Yep.
But it's one of 3 major points in the game where people just go, I don't know what I'm doing, and there's no help here, so they quit. Okay.
Yeah, if you understand melee combat, which is not easy in and of itself, and the game doesn't really tell you, he's not that hard at all, but you don't really get pushed through the game at like a steady level. It's an exponential increase in difficulty without you knowing what tools you're supposed to use or what tools you even have. Like me jump canceling attacking helps you a lot, you know, knowing that you just don't need to be on the same side as him, and you'll probably never get hit by most of the stuff he's gonna do. But, you know, you have to grind on your face on the fight for a little while to figure that out.
Yeah, I know of people that ended up resorting to cheats just to get through them.
Okay.
And Tony left the orphan that seed or that shard back there because we already know what it is, and it's not really worth it. It's going to be the same one as the little lantern that he cracked earlier. So.
Yeah, normally those lamps have like a quality of life increase shard. So there's several of them around because you can stack them up. But something good is in there. We'll go and grab them all. But if not, whatever. We just don't pick them up. And but there is an item over there in that room. So okay, we are starving for warp rooms here.
Swordfish is a halfway decent katana. Ooh, smoothie. Shame you're not going to need it too much.
Yeah. I'm going to stick with the cricket bat, though. Just because of the hitbox, it's a little bit different. Like, every weapon has a different hitbox, sort of. Like, maces and swords are pretty close, but everything else has its own animation.
Katanas are strange because they tend to swing up. Whips tend to drive down. Wrong DS. Oh, we are not getting...
well, you can get safeties in MC, as unlikely as it is, so we'll check down here real quick. There's also some there's some treasure chests anyway, so...
Yeah. It might be worthwhile just to run back.
I think we're fine, because the only thing we're gonna get for sure is infinite MP, and we don't really need that right now. I can get up the tall rooms with Dimension Shift and this much MP. Although I'm gonna just do this to check the items that are over here.
Yeah, I mean this is one shard check and 3.
Yeah.
Item checks effectively. So
we could have went upwards a couple rooms earlier and checked some items up there too. But the thing is that if we have to go to OSL, which is the upper left part of the castle, I'm gonna have to run through that area anyway. So I'm just gonna ignore that for now. When you have this much open, you have to just decide on, like, you know, what to leave behind. You can't check everything, you know.
So yeah, sometimes you just have to be confidently incorrect. Oh, Words of Wisdom.
Yep.
Again, a yellow Detective's Eye. Words of Wisdom is one of the better yellows. Once we go get that Jeebel's Glasses, it's not really going to be all that important, but it does reduce MP usage.
Do I have every boss key right now too? Yeah.
The Warhorse. Yeah. Millionaire, so Tony can fight all of the super bosses. That floor is technically a fake, so you can just kind of skip through it. And this Coming up is a glitch.
Oh boy, I hate doing this.
Oh, you do it the dimension shift way?
Yeah, I usually do. Might be able to do it the normal way. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. We just jump to the floor. Floors, ceilings be damned. We just go right through them.
Yeah, I usually do it the other way because you get well, at least on uncapped FPS, you get like a larger eye. I have no MP.
You do have that smoothie.
Yeah, and we won't need it, so. Actually, I could just do this. I'm trying to jump over there for. You kind of forget how to play with all the cool fun toys since you get them so rarely.
Yeah.
Early, so. Okay, there we go.
There we go. We got a teleporter. Since we're just running back to break something down and craft and do some crafting, I'll go over some of the other movement methods. You can find a couple of different belts that help with movement. One of them improves your slides and make them faster because if you crouch and then press jump, you'll slide forward. There's a belt that actually increases the speed of your back dashes as we get Jeeble's glasses, which gives us effectively infinite MP. There are 2 weapons that have a technique with them that consumes MP to allow you to go forward. One of them, actually 2 weapons within 2 groups. The spears, you'll basically just stick your spear out and try to run through everything while you're piercing them. And then 2 of the greatswords have a skill called Crescent Moon, where you'll put your sword behind you, dash forward, and it's actually at a fairly fast clip. And then when you let go of the button, you'll do kind of like an uppercut swing. But accelerator is just the best method to get around because it's basically just hold a really easy to press button down and go wherever you want. Combination with a couple of the vertical movement shards, specifically high jump, you effectively have flight. And then dimension shift is also a type of movement. So Bulleye Blast is pretty much going to carry us through most of the game. Skull Necklace you might just want to equip.
I'm going to keep the luck on because we don't need it for right now, but it will definitely come on.
It's coming on for bosses.
For bosses, yeah.
But Skull Necklace specifically causes shards to consume, what is it?
Double 1.5 times, 1.5 I think.
It's 1.5. It's either double MP or 1.5 times MP for effectively 1.5 times damage.
Yeah.
So now that MP isn't a concern, just food is. And Tony is buying a bunch of different types of food because every time you eat a specific type of food, you get a stat increase, a permanent stat increase. Much like most RPGs, there are RPG elements in this game, and they include specific stats like attack, strength, intelligence, luck. Intelligence and luck tend to be the 2 most important ones because in this game, luck does actually work. The data has been mined. It tends to be like real life in that it doesn't work as much as you would like it to, but it does work.
Yeah, you get a very minor boost, but I mean, at least from the data we have, nobody has a supercomputer, but people have run the numbers, and you know, like there is a very minuscule benefit to having it on. So any advantage we can have is worth it.
And sometimes we really need it because some of the most common percentage for shard drops is 4%, and there's quite a large number of enemies that only drop at 2% of the time.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Just 2 or 3, which is really annoying because they tend to be just terrible enemies to farm.
This is one of those instances where it's really nice to have a good red because we want to keep dimension shift on as much as possible. So axe throw is fine enough.
Yeah, axe throw's a pretty decent red. Reds are basically just press a button, get a spell effect.
Yeah.
We would call X. I would say what axe throw's probably in that 1.5 tier.
Yeah, I mean, if you have like an S tier, like if you go like the Japanese style where like S is the highest, and then you go like A, B, C after that, I'd probably say it's a B.
High B, low A range.
High B, yeah, high B, low A, something like that. Because you can get multiple hits, but you know, there's a lot of better stuff.
Multiple hits, and you can have 3 or 4 amount of time. So you can oh, a white.
All right.
Invert.
Castle is truly open.
the castle is completely open. Tony will decide to use an invert at some point. It's sometimes an easier thing to use than dimension shift.
Yeah, it might just be. It depends on how high the gap is. Like, if we have a really, really high gap, we'll just invert because it's faster to just fall. But inverting is slow. Here, we'll just show it off real quick. So all that time you spend in the air.
Yeah, so you've got that little bit of lag, though there are some times where you can take advantage of it to increase your DPS because it does stop projectiles, and if the projectile has a cooldown on it, you'll force the cooldown.
Do I kill Millionaire? No, we don't need the shard. Okay, cool.
Probably not. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're just looking for our best friend Zangetsu To right now.
Hopefully we can get some waystones in before you have to try to traverse 8-bit.
Yeah, we'll see. Huh?
Yeah, these seeds where you get a bunch of really good stuff right at the start, and then you're looking for one specific thing can be a little on the weird side sometimes.
Yeah, it's a higher mental stack because you have to like decide where to go as opposed to the game just leading you down a whatever path. And you know, I don't think I have to explain why that's a little bit harder to do, especially when you always. It feels like you always pick wrong, so. You're like, oh wow, if I would have went to this section first, I would have been so fast. But you know that happens every time you play.
Yeah, that's every game, every race.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna see it a lot over the course of the marathon. Everybody playing a randomizer. Oh, if I only would have went here first. Okay, at least there's
options.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather not have a teleporter there, but I've seen worse. I'd rather have it there than next to. Like in a room right next to something else. All right, now here comes the true mental stack, which is nice in this game. I don't have to, since we have dimension shift. I don't have to really think about what shards have dropped for me at all. And we have a good offensive shard. I do have to think about every item check that I've made and remember which ones I have and which ones I haven't to not lose a bunch of time checking things that I've already checked.
At least combat is mostly solved here.
Yeah, combat is effectively completely solved. Like, we don't have range, but that doesn't really matter considering we have, you know, healing items because it's MC, which in our standard run you get a lot less chance to have food items in the shop. That's just the nature of the way the shop randomizes.
This one doesn't really stun lock him.
Because in same type, since there's no food base in the shop, there isn't any. Ooh.
Oh, sure.
Okay, that's
that one's got some uses.
Could be good in longer fights. All right, now that's a bad teleport with all the other teleports.
Yeah, that's actually a bad teleport. One thing that's interesting about we might as well just use invert here. One thing that's interesting about this game is that status effects are actually really good. Unlike some Final Fantasies where things like poison or honestly even
instant death.
Instant death is kind of terrible in a lot of the Final Fantasies. 6 with the invisibility glitch being one of the notable exceptions. Like this curse stat that you're inflicted with right now, terrible. It halves your max HP and MP for a limited amount of time. Humans tend to be, in this game, if you're classified as a human, you're weak to poison. Just naturally weak to poison.
Yep, and bosses are not an exception, which is the main thing. So, like, there's some bosses that are immune to poison, but every other human boss is not. So, you can actually use poison on bosses. You can use curse on some bosses.
And it can actually cause some problems.
Yeah, you can put a boss into its harder phase earlier. This is probably worth it.
Yeah, you can put a boss, specifically one of the end bosses. There's an instance where you can put them into their hard phase. Then the curse runs out, and they drop back to their normal phase, and you have to go back into the harder phase afterwards.
Yeah, they get their HP back if you don't finish them off. So you have to recurse them or win the fight.
If you know you're close, you can go for it. But it's actually a gamble.
That doesn't go anywhere special.
So there is another movement thing that I want to bring up while we're meandering around. You've probably noticed that Tony used Dimension Shift, came out of the teleport, and then jumped. That is something that in the community, in just the Castlevania or some of the platforming communities, is referred to as Coyote time, as in Wile E. Coyote, where you get into the air and you just kind of hang out there for a little bit, and it gives you an opportunity to do something, and then you fall. So we've actually taken advantage of it in terms of movement a few times. There's one of the variations on that is you might have noticed earlier in the game, Tony's kind of sliding off of edges, ledges and getting into things, and it allows him to extend push the jump off the ledge a little bit, and then fire off. One of the reasons I brought up that movement tech with the greatswords earlier is that one allows you to extend that movement completely off of a cliff. So, in a really wonky max seed, if you find one of those two weapons, it allows you to just kind of rip the physics of the game apart and makes things fun. Okay, all right, good Andrea fight. Let's see what kind of shard we get here.
Yeah, mostly just came in here to make sure this chest wasn't green, but while we're here, have to kill the boss to get out.
Not the best shard, but it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I don't want to come back here, so I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I think there's only, 2 checks left on the lore set?
Yep.
Of the library?
So the librarian lets you borrow books. The caveat to it is if you want to borrow more than one book, you got to travel around the castle, and the fastest way to do that is warping.
It's actually just tied to warps.
Yeah.
If you warp, you grab the first book, you go warp 3 times, you can go get the second book. Then warp a few more times, and if you've got enough of the map covered, you get your third book.
Or you can get it automatically by just going into one of the endgame areas and then doing the additional warps.
Typically, so that succubus that Tony killed in the previous room is actually the only enemy in the game that will not attack you.
Unless you hit it first.
Yeah, well, you have to hit her first, but if you just walk into the room, she will not attack you. She will actually cast a buff spell. It increases your strength, and it doesn't last long enough to really matter. Unfortunately. So, but at least there's a friendly somewhere in the castle.
Yeah, she actually talks trash to you if you, you hear her say, "How could you?" and I attacked her. Oh.
Money is still important, even though we have infinite MP. Just we want
more
food.
I want just enough to buy food. Yeah, more food. That's pretty much it. Because we are gonna go immediately on finding the sword to the end of the game, and that might be before we get a bunch of levels and hit a bunch of HP ups and so on.
Alright.
Yeah, we're wasting a lot of our warp rooms in this area.
Yeah, it's starting to look like there's not going to be a ton of free movement later on. That is actually an elevator shaft. We will activate, we'll probably activate an elevator later. These 3-dimensional rooms like this are special because you can't use Dimension Shift or one of the other movement shards in them. So Tony will be relying entirely on jumping and dashing here.
Yeah, and invert if necessary. That's one of the reasons I came here. If I did not have that, I probably would have just left this area. You can do it pretty easily with... Alright. You're pretty easy with accelerator and jump, but...
There's a few you can't make, but for the most part you can cover most of this one.
You are subject to some timing stuff, too. Alright, well, waystones are good. That's the library card of the game. That will teleport us back to the town area, which is very useful. From anywhere, you just open the item menu and use it, and it teleports you.
You can even bail out of a boss fight. All right, I'm hoping we get something good out of this one. All right, we are right back where we came out of the library. Dress. Right. Damage boost. No, the snap invert. Hyperventilator is not the best thing to look for.
That was unintentional. Meant to do this.
Yeah, repeated inverts can get a little disorienting, so if we're gonna intentionally do it, we'll mention it. Luckily, we won't really have any issues with the farming for things because we've pretty much completed all the actual enemy farms.
Yeah, I don't even have to think about shards now because I don't need Aqua Stream. I don't need Deep Sinker because I have invert that gets me through water.
Aqua Stream might be nice to have, but
yeah, it'd be great to have. It does a lot of damage, but we don't need it. Okay, I just want to see that chest over there, and that is not a green, so we're going. And also, another reason to skip this area too is there's some chests in the boss area that you need a better vertical movement to get to, which Easy said that we can't dimension shift, so with invert I can get to those checks as well. So I won't have to come back here at all, barring something insane happening. Dimension shift actually opens another item check as well, so we can literally clear this place out, take all the loot, and leave.
Don't even need to fight the boss.
Yeah, technically I don't. There is one chest I can't get to without killing him, though.
Oh yeah, that's right. The
key item chest. Yeah, so
chest.
We'll kill him. It's a great spot for donations because it's an auto scroller, and that's coming up in just a second here. Oops. I'm gonna check and see what that was just in case. If it's something insane.
There are some better shards than directional shards than what we've got right now. If we happen to stumble into one of them, we'll definitely go with it. But for right now, Bullite Blast is probably going to carry us through most of the game for damage.
Yeah, it's definitely an A+ shard if you have infinite MP. It stun locks enemies. It's only really outdone by spammable stuff and crouch text. Well, crouch text stuff is spammable. It's really only outdone by spammable stuff.
There are two beam attacks in the shards. One of them is the superior one. That one's a darkness element, which is pretty good against humans as well. It's that one's kind of funny because the way it calculates your MP usage is per second. But if you just tap the whatever button you're using for that, it only uses as much MP as you use for frames.
Yep.
So, if you only consume one frame on a 50 MP per second thing, you're really only going to burn, what, a couple of...
0.7, 0.625 or something? Yeah, it's divided by 60, so...
Oh, they kissy. We're long since into... this boss is long since dead. If we had gauge glasses on, you'd see he's basically at 1 HP and just doesn't move.
Yep. Yeah, you can do all his damage up front, and then you just have to hit him once in each phase to move to the next sequence. He has three rows of castle here. I think you can do this infinitely if you don't damage him. But I don't think he moves to the next phase without damage. So things you don't find out when you're not specifically looking for him. I have to invert to get this.
Yeah, you gotta invert. That requires at least double jump. Alright, so this right here is another point where the game does not convey anything to you very well.
Yeah, that's a required item.
It is in the vanilla situation that is a required item, and the game says absolutely nothing to you about how to do that or where to go.
Yeah, you just have
And
to
by
like look
the-
at the map and go, oh, maybe there's something up
Yeah.
there. This is a Castlevania game.
It basically wants you to just kind of go map completionist, and that's not for a lot of casual players. That's not really something they do. So I've talked with a couple of people, and they've just said, like, I don't know where to go right now. What is this?
Yeah, I think that's something that's going to change a bit in the sequel coming up.
We can definitely hope that will change in the sequel, because it is pretty much a problem. It's some bad conveyance. There's another instance of really bad conveyance too. And if we run into that room up above, we'll point it out. Dimension shift is a little funky with its movement because of the distance it travels and the way the screen is laid out. You actually can't go straight up or straight down, so you have to work at angles.
Geometry.
45 degrees tend to be geometry. 45-degree angles tend to be the easiest to maneuver with, but if you're good enough at the 85-degree angles, it'll work. Save room, not exactly what we're hoping for here, but given how powered we are, that's not the worst. Yeah, we got invert. And I think is this guy? Yeah, this guy's stun lockable.
Yep. He is undead though, so you can't poison him.
Yeah. This is one of the super bosses. He's referred to as the Warhorse. We call him Lyman Selmon, because he's Dollar Store Simon Belmont from the Castlevania series.
Yeah, he has a whip, he has a sub-weapon, multiple sub-weapons. And he jumps out of a big circly thing like Doppelganger, and who makes an appearance in almost every YeehawMcK, I think.
Yeah, almost
some
every
kind
single one.
Some kind
and
of...
he hits like a truck.
He has a guaranteed shard drop, so... Okay, not great, but... You already have a better version of that, but okay.
I think given how powered we are, it wasn't the biggest use of time.
Yeah, bottom line is we have to go down now, or we have to go up. I don't want to go up.
So Tony mentioned earlier what up was. That's OSL, which stands for Oriental Sorcery Lab. That is basically end game level.
Yeah, high risk area.
A very high risk area, even when you're as early overpowered as we are, because much like Warhorse, everything there hits like a truck, and they tank damage constantly.
Yeah, since it's an end game area, there's a lot less stuff to check, just per capita. So
it's a little better in Max than it is in STS, but not by much.
Yeah, in our main category, there's the last key item check you want to do, and then there's like 2 accessories. So
there's two accessories and 2 or 3 purples, and every single one of the purples is just tanky. And one of the purples is a super boss that doesn't have a guaranteed drop, so you're stuck fighting the super boss repeatedly sometimes.
Yep. It's as bad as it sounds. So we're just going to avoid that and show you more of the rest of the other pleasant parts of the castle. We'll go there if we have to, but... We could. I mean, assuming the sword isn't locked behind itself, which it shouldn't be, because we didn't get the safety, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah. They're not 100%. I guess, yeah, maybe this is a good time to go over that. We use the built-in version of the randomizer. Because...
And that is specifically because it allows for anybody on any platform. Except for mobile, because mobile, you don't want to touch that. Anybody on any platform can compete with each other.
Yeah, our community
we've had races where
race-oriented.
We've had a person on PC, a person on PlayStation 5, a person on Xbox and a person on Switch. And
There's nothing in that room over there. Yeah.
no, it's just the checks along the way. Well, yeah.
The breakable wall over there. It's like a quest NPC.
Yeah, it's a quest NPC thing. There is a mod for the PC version that has logic, but since it's so exclusionary, we just don't use it.
Yeah, we have a lot of console players.
I mean, I'm one of them. I have the PC version, but I almost exclusively play on Xbox.
I have it on PS5 in addition to PC. It's just unplayable on PS5.
Yeah, it's really weird. The PlayStation Vi, the version of the game doesn't, I guess, emulate properly on the PS4 version.
I think
PS4 version.
Yeah, because it's the PS4 version ported to PS5. I think it runs fine on PS4. We have people that play on PS4. It's not perfect. They'll tell you, but it's definitely not as bad.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's not as bad. Okay, so this is one of the underwater movement things. Invert allows you to jump because you can jump underwater to go up. Invert basically lets you invert and jump down. And this room, these enemies that Tony's killing right now, the what's called Decima, not the horse, the jellyfish looking guys. They just dropped a yellow. In the base game, they dropped a purple called Aqua Stream, which is your first way of moving underwater. The game does not tell you that they do that. They specifically do have the attack, but since they don't fire it off right away, a lot of times you just don't see it.
Yeah, so the game expects you to just sit there and farm it while, to progress, which there's no indication of that anywhere. There's no, sign or NPC to tell you that. You just have to know, oh yeah, not only do I have to kill this specific enemy, but then I have to equip the shard and then use it to move around underwater.
And so it's just another one of those points where people are like, how would anybody figure that out? The answer is...
bash your head against the wall until you do?
Yeah, it kind of is.
Okay, okay, so we got three chests of doom. So we have to remember those.
Watch it actually be Jeeble's scuba gear.
I mean, that wouldn't be too bad. I just have to find Sinker, and we'd be okay.
Yeah. Okay. That red that we just picked up, Bloodstained, that is progression, but we don't need it.
Yeah, it's vanilla progression. Very rarely do you have to use that in any of the randomizer presets that we play in, but it can happen.
And it is technically basically if there's any blood splattered on the ground, you absorb it, and it is technically a form of healing. So in specific fights, it can. Wow, that was the perfect max HP up.
Yeah, I did not have to pause. You'll see me not pause a lot, just trying to wait until because I'm checking every chest, so there's really good odds I'm going to find a lot of HP max ups, which heals you to full as well. Do we kill this guy? I don't think so. I can just... We have a teleport here, and I can just check the chest. Yeah.
There's really no point.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, we don't need to teach that old man a lesson.
He would die pretty fast, but I mean, unless he has exactly deep sinker, there's no change to what we're capable of.
Extract Crude would be very useful against those Allosaurs.
Yeah.
Those lesses?
Definitely far from the worst red available. Dimension shift angles coming into play.
Yep. It's a really funky shard.
I still haven't found any headgear.
Yeah, I know that feeling. A couple of one check in this room.
Yep, so basically we're just running around checking every item now, so if anybody had any questions or if we have more donations, we could throw it over to that.
More donations, or if chat has any questions about any of the mechanics in the game, we can do our best to answer them.
Yep, because we could write you a dissertation on all the mechanics, but half of them won't even come up in your average run, and then they'll come up in the next run. And That's just kind of how it goes.
And then you won't see him again for like 3 or 4 runs.
Yeah, like all these things that I know how to do with Accelerator early, I'm like forgetting how to do, you know, because I don't get Accelerator early for like 15 runs in a row, and then you get it early, and then you go, oh yeah, that's right, I can get across this gap with it, and I can get through here with just it and nothing else. Rando problems, you know.
Okay.
Alright, so we gotta check the spot right here. It's another location that's gonna require us to have... Okay, that sucks. Alright, so we have 4 green chests down here that we have to have a way to get through tight spaces and or...
Well, we have Dimension Shift, so...
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good hat.
Oh yeah, I have Dimension Shift. What am I doing? So there you go. Like, I'm not used to having Dimension Shift. I can just do this. I'm thinking...
The early Dimension Shift is still incredibly rare.
Yeah. Yep. Go this way. So there's a chest right here.
Fish dish. Yeah, that's a...
Oh, I guess we could also mention that the pets that you see running around, the dogs, the cats, and then the portraits of everybody, those are all real people. Those are all Kickstarter backers of a specific tier or higher. So not only did everybody get their name at the end of the credits, but people who bought in a little bit more got to be in the game.
And oh boy, are there a lot of people in the end credits.
Yeah, like literally everybody that contributed, I think, anything is in the end credits.
How long are those credits? 12 to 15 minutes?
Yeah, we can talk for a while afterwards.
And this teleporter room that Tony's in is actually a safety teleporter. No matter what you do, it will always be a teleporter.
Yeah, same with this one that I just teleported to. This is to just prevent soft locks, and also like to make sure you can get back to the starting area, no matter what the save and randomized rooms are. Same thing with the save room to the right here. This is always a save room. I think everything else, though, can be shuffled.
Yeah. And actually, the biggest difference between Max Chaos and same type shuffle is, believe it or not, having the... Oh, wow. Another Jeebel's Glasses breaking.
Yeah, so the Jeebel's Glasses must be... It's the Bitcoin.
This is the Jeebel's Glasses seed.
Yeah. That's funny.
It's the randomization of the teleporter and save rooms is hands down the biggest difficulty. Wow, yeah, it's 8 Bitcoin.
Never mind. I was gonna make that, and then I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
It's hands down the most difficult thing, because if without changing those, the map is actually fairly well laid out with the teleporters and everything. There's one kind of bad spot in the underground, but for the most part, it's pretty good. Just selling some stuff to buy some more food. The game does have guns. They're god-awful until they're not. And the point where they're not god-awful is basically when you have the top gun with the strongest ammo. And then they're just completely and utterly overpowered.
I have waystones now. Just gonna go ahead and get this area out of the way. There's a few item checks that we needed vertical movement to get to, which we now have.
Perfect time for some more donations.
Yep. Oh, I already got that one, that's right. Because we found Dimension Shift early, but not too early. What else is going on in this game that we can talk about? Kind of covered shards.
Covered movements.
Yeah.
There is kind of like a big game of almost Pokemon going on, where different enemies have different resistances and stuff. Like heavily armored enemies generally tend to be really strong against just, like slashing weapons, which makes sense. They're wearing heavy armor. but you hit him with a baseball bat, and it does a ton of damage to him. There's different elements that are going on, light, dark, fire, ice, thunder, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, full RPG mechanics on display. Okay. Awesome.
All right.
All right, so I think my plan now is to. I did not open it. Get this one. No, did I get that? Yeah.
Nope. Hey, that's a good one.
Okay. Sure.
That one's the that one specifically. Spikes don't do any damage to you, and environmental traps don't do any damage to you, except for the final boss. The final boss has an attack that looks like an environmental damage thing, but it's an attack. After a patch, it was an attack anyway. Initially, it negated that attack, but they patched it. Oh, yeah.
Just don't want to get caught out by the often forgot locations.
Killer Hammerhead, that's the first familiar we found in the game. There's, what is it, 6 or 7 familiar? I think it's, no. 7 or
6.
8, because there are...
6 without DLC.
Oh, 6 without DLC, 8 with DLC.
Right.
One of them is part of the paid DLC, and one of them is free DLC. But
I don't think there's any familiars in the free DLC.
there is. You have to use a specific item at a specific and go through a specific point, and it dumps you into a special area where.
Right,
yeah. It's the Archer. I forget what game it's from, but
yeah, you'll never see it in a random run. That's why
you'll never see it in a randomizer run. It does not pop up. But of the base 6, 5 of them are actually good.
Yeah, even the one that I've got is arguably the second worst, but it's still just free damage.
But it's still just useful.
Yeah.
The worst one is one of those like multi-wheel demons called
this guy right here.
Yeah, that guy right there. Drops of blue. Craftwork.
Not the band, but the hand that will move stuff out of the way. That's a vanilla progression item that you get off that mechanical hand boss guy that we killed earlier.
But the current new game, No Major Glitches World Record, held by Jupiter Climb, actually uses the Buer, or the DLC one called Buchan, which is just a colorful Buer. Uses that with dive kicks and some other things to vertically ascend an area and skip like half the game.
Yeah, you can jump off of it, which is the only use it really has, but
Yeah,
that use is pretty
time
good.
you get some move attacks.
Yeah, we don't really use it in this kind of play, but it can definitely be used in a regular run. If you have double jump, there are some interesting applications. Oh, there is one other guaranteed teleport room. We're about to see it right now. And it exists because, it's not this room up here, but it exists because of the same reason we were saying before. You can get down here without any form of movement to get out. So the reason the teleport room exists is to get you out of here without soft locking you.
There are a couple other soft locks that you can run into in the game that still exist.
Yeah.
One of them is when you're interacting with an NPC, if you try to mash out a little bit too quick, it just soft locks the game. I've actually lost 8 minutes in a race to that specific lockout. Patch 1.5 actually introduced a really bad one that did require
Yeah, so
another patch, which is why we have 1.6.
So right here, if you don't have vertical movement, you can't get back up to this. So that's why there's a teleport room coming soon.
But 1.5,
I got the audio glitch too.
Yeah.
If you screen transition while a certain enemy is doing a certain sound effect, it just doesn't go away until
Never
you
stops.
save and reload. So sorry about that, everybody. All right, so that's a green as well. We got a lot of bad greens that we might need sinker for, but hopefully not.
But 1.5 introduced the shop. If you just go a little bit too fast, selling things or buying things, soft lock. And given how integral the shop is to even the base game, it actually did force the patch.
Yeah, actually, any NPC you talk to, in theory, you could soft lock depending on how good you can mash. I did it on the quest NPC. Yeah.
Yeah, I did it on the farming NPC. The shop was especially egregious because of how frequently there are options that you have to select. So
yeah.
That there was actually another. Okay, Strider belt. That's actually one of those movement things I mentioned earlier. That's the sliding belt. But there was another goof up that happened with 1.5. We only see it in randomizer. In 1.4, anytime you could craft a potion, the game would tell you specifically which potion it was and show the correct graphic. In 1.5, we don't know why, but that fell apart, and instead of it shows, I believe, the EX potion and displays missing string table entry. The community at large found it really funny, so we specifically requested that one not be fixed, because, I mean, we're playing a randomizer. We might as well have some fun with it. There's a few checks in this room, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah.
Yep.
One of them is nothing. This one could be something. That one requires invert.
Or dimension shift, of course. Dimension shift is kind of like,
Dimension shift is to get out of jail free.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're in what Tony refers to as lethal lava land, and this is the boss. You can see Miriam running along the bottom there real quick, because we came in the wrong way. Anybody care to hazard a guess what the boss is weak against?
I mean, we are in a fire area, so you'd think like ice or water, right?
Nope. He's weak to fire. We don't know why. It's a really weird one, but
I think it's because he's undead, technically, which is weird, because nothing else here is.
Yeah, it's just strange. In the vanilla game, we get invert from him in Max Chaos. Who knows what we're gonna get? Okay, it's red. Ape Flame. That's okay. It's not the best.
Yeah, definitely not something we're gonna use. Okay.
Yeah, teleport. Okay, so let's. That Hellhound enemy that Tony just killed drops what's considered to be the best red. It's obviously it's called Summon Hellhound. It just jumps out of the background and does massive damage. I've seen, and even not fully leveled, you're seeing mid to high hundreds in damage.
Yeah,
fully leveled, like in a vanilla run where you just go through all of it, it's thousands of damage easy.
Yeah, I think if you get it on Morte in the beginning, as soon as you get 200 MP or so, you're still gonna hit for like 250 plus. So the base damage is pretty nuts. But it costs 200 MP to cast, which is even more egregious than your average. So it's kind of balanced correctly, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, Jeebel's Glasses kind of breaks it apart, but
it does that.
Jeebel's Glasses is intended to break everything apart.
Yeah, normally
it's one of the last things you can get in the game.
Yeah, I think you have to get 95% completion. Then you have to get into the last area. You have to fight the hardest boss in the game. basically the hardest boss in the game. Yeah.
Yeah, basically the hardest boss in the game, and you have to. I think you either have to complete all of the crafting or a really high percentage of it.
Oh no, wait, that's sorry, that's for the shard. To get glasses, you have to get 100% completion.
Oh.
Glasses in a chest.
Solomon's Ring. Yeah. Solomon's Ring is one of the higher.
100% shard collection. So you have to do what we just described to get one of the blue shards. And then after that, you have to
that's right.
get everything else in the game.
That's right. The blue shard referring to is the one that stops time.
Yeah, stand still, yeah. So you have to do all this. You have to do this optional super side quest. And then you have to get every single item check and all that.
Man, elementals are just the worst.
Or shard check, my bad. Yeah, so you have to get the super optional shard and then every other shard. And there's another super optional boss you have to kill to get a shard, which is has resist curses, and then you have to kill the other. You have to farm the stupid guy in the tower. For somewhat summon insect. Yeah. And then you have to farm Scythe Might as well.
Fried fish is actually a pretty frequent drop in most most blue chests. So we see it in SDS a lot. It's also a really good healing item just in general. And the initial usage of it gives you one int, so it's always a welcome sight to see fried fish.
Just making sure I don't leave any chests behind.
And then we're also going to be going into a boss here backwards. And this boss is another one that's kind of tanky. It's another Castlevania trope. This is the doppelganger, so we're kind of fighting ourselves. See if Bull Eye. Yep, we got the Bull Eye Blast locks. So this is gonna be a relatively simple. One damage from the Dulla Hammerhead.
Yeah, as long as I don't screw it up.
There's a few different ways to handle the loop. I like to do some movement in between the hits, just keep my hands busy. But all right, we got a purple Inferno Breath. It's not the worst. See, that's. Oh yeah, no. There's usually a teleporter. This is usually the teleporter, so they just inverted the teleporter. Save spade. Other ground. Okay.
It was always OSL. I should have just went there.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to.
At least we can go in the back of OSL this time. Instead of having to fight through all the craziness. Actually, you could go through the craziness. We got what we need. But... yeah. They're green. Garbage.
Yeah, if that was Silver Knight, I'd switch, but it's not that much of an upgrade. Silver Knight is the one pet that's like kind of like towers above the others because he can literally block a bunch of damage. But the rest of them are just mostly offensive. They can buff you, whatever. Yeah, I guess that's all we have left. Then we have to start farming for Deep Sinker.
What are we transmuting this time?
I'll go with this.
Sure.
Permanently 10 more HP.
I'll go with this. I'll go with this. I'll go with this.
Alright, the sound's killing me here.
As I suspected.
Oh,
couldn't take it anymore.
that is a relief. Yeah, summon ghost.
This is the closest.
Yeah.
We have some chests
Yeah,
to check back on
Yeah,
this
there's
way
some
as well.
checks on the way through, so
There's some
not
at the
worse.
bottom that we can get with dimension shift. So. You're just gonna see me just damaging through a lot of stuff because it doesn't matter at this point. Should just invert actually, because outside of this one and the bell, these are at the top here. Of course.
All the way back down. At least it got you right to that check, and kind of makes you wish you hadn't.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's another Castlevania-ism. Getting nailed by an enemy like 1 pixel onto the screen.
Yep. Nice. Okay.
It's there, might as well grab it.
Oh, of course.
That enemy is one of the first ones you run into that can inflict curse. Generally not the most well-liked enemy, but...
Oh. I guess if I would have made a good mental note, I would have known I didn't have to go do that.
Just invert and get right back up.
Yep.
Not a huge time loss. And it has been almost an hour since you checked that, so...
Revenge.
Lamberg, Claymore, Valk Sword. That's the best sword you can find in a chest.
Yeah, that's normally in that dimension shift only check that we did right before the Tower of Twin Dragons boss.
That's a dimension shift only check right there.
Yep.
HP, not the worst. Technically, that space right down there is dimension shift only as well, but we're not doing that quest, so no point. Although, wait, Max, it might be worth doing at some point.
I've never seen Zangetsuto as a quest reward, so I don't think we need to, but because it drops. So here's the thing, the way the shuffling works, and the reason we mentioned the PC mod is that the game does have some limitations. So there's a lot of stuff that's craftable only, and that stuff cannot be shuffled into like the regular pool of stuff that drops in chests and on the world map, if you will. So since the item we're looking for is guaranteed to be shuffled into a chest somewhere, provided the code works, we shouldn't have to complete any kind of quest or whatever to find it. It's going to be here somewhere. But there's no rule that says that an item that drops here on the overworld can't be shuffled into a quest reward. So, I don't know.
The game is weird.
Yep. Can I please? Oh, I don't need to do this. What am I doing? I have dimension shift.
Those instances where we just kind of forget we have it.
Yep. Because, yeah, again, like, this just doesn't happen very often in the main category we play that's more consistent because, you know, there's only so many key item locations, and you check all those pretty quickly.
Okay, well, at least that was a quick look and get out.
Okay, so if we have to farm, what's his name at some point? Because he does have chests.
That's true, he does. That would be one of the worst farms ever.
I've done it. I have done it to soft lock pick a seed before, and newsflash, he did not have it. It's one of those ones where just Z just did not exist. I even clipped through the floor into in the tiny huge, and I still couldn't find it. So.
Well,
When's the last time I saved?
it's been a while.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's
Oh, it might have been right before. Oh yeah, it was right before we went up there. So
okay. Well, at least
because
we
I
know
needed to
that
get rid of
there's
the
a lot
stupid
spots
sound
that-
bug.
Yeah, at least we know that a lot of OSL isn't really worth it, aside from probably getting the teleporter.
Yeah, just so I don't have to waste my one waystone to get out.
And most of the stuff you picked up on the way wasn't really anything too important, so
Yeah, there was
pretty much
nothing,
just zip right over.
nothing relevant at all.
Man, I hope we don't have to farm Carpenter.
It's more than likely in one of the chests that requires deep sinker. If we don't find it. Oops. Again, I don't even need to do this. Let's- Oh, I should get the teleporter. Yeah.
Yeah. It's worth noting that the game expects you to have invert by this point, so hanging out on the ceiling doesn't really help you.
It can. It depends
It
on
can
like
be a
what
little
you're
quicker,
trying to
but-
do. Yeah.
It can be a little quicker, but those ninjas,
They will
just start
cast their fire.
attacking the air.
Yeah, they'll cast their
they'll-
fire
they'll
spikes
cast
on the floor.
Fireball. The weird cow-looking things will invert. They will just hang out on. They'll just get the ceiling. There's the flyers. The big cat thing can actually just
Angle upwards.
cast a
Yeah.
spell at you, and it's the game knows to expect you. You've got it, so they have enemies that can deal with it.
Yeah, but if you have some kind of movement speed or you're just trying to get by, inverting's still worth it because you can just go over everybody
Right.
on the floor.
Is this going to be save space? Yes. All right.
Yeah, not that we really need it for this.
I mean, going in with full HP is always good. So this is the second Zangetsu fight. We're pretty much going to stun lock him to oblivion. He tends to have... He has, what, 4 phases in this version of the fight?
Yeah, one of
Pretty
each
much not
element.
gonna see, yeah, one of each element. We're not really going to see him. Because he's not going to get to do anything.
I remembered how to use Bull Eye Blast.
Just walk up and talk to him, and it's, this is the point where we would get the sword that we were looking for. It's named the Zangetsuto. But because it's max chaos, we didn't get it.
Yeah, spoilers for vanilla.
Then again, we've seen most of the castle anyway, so... Oh. What was that?
I had to ban a bot in my chat.
Oh, okay. It was just kind of weird that it jumped back to the very start of the game on screen.
Yeah, when you alt tab in full screen mode, weird shit happens.
Okay, this is the most annoying super boss in the game. We can kind of stun him. I don't know, do you want to try to hold off for the chest?
Nah, I'm just gonna kill him and see what happens.
He'll summon high level enemies. He hits like a truck. He's got a ton of HP.
Good news is, if you're watching this live at the marathon, you won't see this problem because we will not run a vetted seed that has something like that in it.
Yeah.
If it was STS, we could potentially if we had a long time estimate, but
Yeah, one of the downsides of Bolide Blast is sometimes you think it's Dimension Shift.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
we might need to go beat up on the old man.
Yeah.
The game still likes. I've noticed even in Max, the game still likes to put. Sometimes likes to put Dementia Deep Sinker by him. I don't know why. There's just a heavy skew towards that drop.
Yeah, he's a guaranteed drop, so you'd want to do him anyway. I think he's the only guaranteed drop I have left. Oh, no, Millionaire. I can do Millionaire. It's also by a teleporter room, so we can do that next.
Well, everybody will get to see all the super bosses.
Yeah, well, not in
Not in order.
not actually in the marathon, but if they come back and watch my practice, they will. This guy's actually worth poisoning in case he gets away from me.
Of course, Bolide Blast. So we don't have access to Tiny Huge Island and the related endgame areas. Oh, there's the slowing. Great. At least he's almost gone.
Yeah.
Wow. I haven't seen an Alfred medal in forever.
Yeah, that's pretty rare.
We haven't found. That's a yellow.
Do I have anything? No. Oh, okay.
Okay, that one's pretty decent. Hmm.
Dimension shift.
So if we were in this kind of situation in the actual run, I'd ask you. It's like, okay, so I've never personally never done a Final Fantasy randomizer. Which one would you recommend?
That it kind of depends on what you want. I'd say play your favorite Final Fantasy game and just play the randomizer for it, whatever that is. If it's like a newer one that doesn't really have one, like I don't know, if you like Final Fantasy 15 or maybe you only play the MMO or something, I'd say I'd probably go with Final Fantasy 1 or let me think about that for a second.
1, 4, and 6 seem to be the best of the old school randomizers.
Yeah, for the most part. The thing about 4 and 6, and I love them, those are my two favorites to play, but the knowledge check is very high for both of them because they're just so huge. Where I think 1, if you can wrap your head around casting spells D&D style instead of using MP, it's pretty straightforward. Actually, Mystic Quest is the best.
Okay.
If you've never played a Final Fantasy randomizer before in your life, Mystic Quest is probably the best one because it's the lowest mental stack. It's the easiest one to understand. The only thing that's tricky is there's the one dungeon where all the enemies are invisible, but you know that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, that can not be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, and you can find the item that makes them visible.
I grew up on like Final Fantasy 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just for me, it's a little weird. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the point in life I was at. I didn't find 9 as enjoyable as I thought I would. I still thought it was a really good game.
I have
if
opinions.
I was gonna play that, if I was gonna play that style of game, I could just break out my Super Nintendo, play 6. Oh, Void Ray. There's one of the beams.
Yeah. So I have a Final Fantasy ranking tier list ranking video that I'll defer to, as to not upset anybody.
Yeah. And then I kind of, after like 10 and 10-2, I kind of fell off RPGs in general.
Yeah, I have strong opinions on Final Fantasies, as most people do, but
I will. Well, I touched 15 briefly. It came up on an Xbox Game Pass. I was like, oh, okay. I understand the whole conceit of the game is the princess thing, but I saw Cindy and I'm like, why are we doing this? Cindy is right here.
yeah, I mean, I would just say the ones I like. So I mean, I love 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and both the MMOs. And then I think Mystic Quest is criminally underrated, and I think Final Fantasy Tactics is incredible as well. So that's kind of like what I'm into.
Oh yeah, Tactics is excellent. I know they're not technically Final Fantasy, but really the first RPG I ever played was Legend 2 on Game Boy. I know that's really more of a saga game, but it's still kind of a JRPG-ish type deal. So
Yeah, Square was
I ran
really
through that game.
really great back in the day for RPGs. Right, yeah. Check these. Okay.
All right, so yeah.
Well,
Now we're into the hard farms.
yep. I think the only play I have is the farm for Sinker now. Oh yeah, that's right. We got one more guaranteed. Go do that, and then
Yeah, it's either Sinker or finding Bromide.
right, which I'm assuming is locked behind the sword, because we would have found it by now. Or it could be locked behind Deep Sinker. Yeah, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, that
flashing
that
lights
right
warning?
there is- yeah, this can get a little disorienting. Oh, it's a white. What do we got?
Where is he?
What was Titania?
Invert.
Oh, okay. He would be
There
up.
he is.
Thunder Elemental. High jump.
Eh.
Kind of worth grabbing. It is basically flight.
Yeah, it's gonna make our movement way faster, so I'll take it. It actually means I don't have to keep Dimension Shift on. I can just do this instead of inverting or Dimension Shifting to pretty much everywhere.
So we're gonna go play slots. I'm not joking about that. We're actually gonna go fight a slot machine.
Yeah, one of the two gambling
Millionaire's
themed
Bane.
bosses in the game.
Yeah, Millionaire's Room, and that's a millionaire. The slot machine is called Millionaire's Bane. I don't know if the Bolide Blast lock works on him, but we got Void Ray. No, it doesn't work. So yeah, we're actually playing slots. If you roll 7-7, if you roll 7-7-7, he self-destructs and you win the fight. I've had it happen in a race where I had to pop in because we needed something, and I got it first try, and I'm like, well, that's never happening again. Yeah, race ball's basically like little potions. Now we're gonna shoot some cannons around. There's just a lot going on screen in this fight. Just gonna summon a Lily. That is a shard check too. How did that happen? Oh! All lucky 7s. Get all the... Oh, Vashka. No, that's not... Yeah, Vashi is the better one.
Yep.
Alright, oh. Do have 8-bit.
That's what I was thinking. There's no items there though. But yeah, we'll show it off.
The scream when the sword dies.
Yeah, it hurts,
So
man.
this
It
is
hurts.
8-bit nightmare. This is this pops up in same type shuffle every so often because those skulls that are along the ground do by default have a purple skin, and people have lost races to this.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in Max, the worst case scenario, I think, probably in the entire game, is to have Dimension Shift on 8-bit Overlord. I
So you
can't.
have to go through this and
Yeah.
then fight the boss, and the boss only has the 4% drop rate.
Yeah, it's 4 or 3. I can't remember. To check my
Yeah,
my regular
terrible.
save files.
It's a terrible drop rate, and
Yeah.
the fight is oh, that's right.
I think at least
Fight-
Carpenter has like 10% or something.
Yeah. I just remembered this fight tends to skew towards double jump.
Yeah, without double jump, it's a little bit harder to evade him.
Demon Heart. Okay, yeah. It's kind of like just like a little classic Vania section right there. And here's the 8-bit Overlord. He's going to pop in and do some stuff and throw a bunch of fire all around the screen.
Yeah, his hitbox is only on his head too, which is super annoying.
So this is going to be one of the ones where he summons fire. That's why double I said excuse to double jump. That's like actually the perfect height for the double jump.
Yeah, I could do it. I could do it with high jump and accelerator. It's just a lot harder.
Invert doesn't really help too much. You have to move up and down a little too fast.
Yeah.
There we go. His attacks do kind of change with phases as well. So. He starts doing this. There we go. There's the kill. It is the slowest death animation.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I forgot is when you pick up something or level up, you can cancel it by pressing start. Oh,
That's right.
there's a chest there, yeah. So if you see me accidentally pause, it's usually because I'm anticipating something that I want to pause for, and I did it too early.
Okay. Well, time to just go in order.
Yep. Alright, so there's going to be a lot of flashing screen warnings here because we have a beam weapon, so we can just kind of stand in a doorway and then reset the screen over and over. So we'll throw those out.
Have one coming up in about 10 seconds here.
Yeah.
This one right here. Well, that would be nice if we had Deep Sinker.
There's nowhere here that... Yeah, we'll do Ghost somewhere else. Do Ghost in Upper Garden.
Here's what I've. Here's what.
Behold, corn.
So now I'm forgetting I have high jump. No, we don't have a teleport room here. Okay. This works. Actually, let's kill Bloodless. She's a guaranteed drop too.
I think that might be the last guaranteed drop we got.
think so, yeah. Well, I mean, that's in front of,
Yeah, in front of that area.
the area you're trying to get into.
Yeah, this boss, Bloodless, she's another one of those really just tanky, terrible bosses. She is progression. She just cast Bloodsteel, we mentioned that earlier, and she heals herself. You can tell her health by how long her dress is.
Yeah, and I backed off on damage there because sometimes you can underflow her HP if you do too much damage too quickly while she's healing. That actually happens on a couple bosses. It can happen on the auto scroller. It can happen on the train.
You just end up with a zombie.
Yeah, and in theory, you can still kill them if you have infinite damage. It just takes forever.
Yeah, these guys have that big shield, but there's still like a little area where you can kind of clip their head. Bad. It's just swinging around in a circle.
Yeah, there's a little simian guy in the middle there. That's kind of where I'm
hiding right behind a pillar.
Yeah, we need all these, so it's fine.
Not a great one, but good. Welcome Company is actually a pretty good early game shard. It's actually pretty useful to even up into the mid game.
Fire demon. No. Oh.
Hey, Deep Seeker. Okay, we're in business.
Oh, other way.
Yeah. Length just gets you every time.
So we had 3 on this side and 1 on the other side that are synchro locked. If it's not this, we're in deep stuff.
Oh yeah. So, in this instance, don't really need to worry. Oh my gold. That's vanilla, isn't it? No, he's usually imitating with speed. Jeeble's scuba gear is max HP max. MP max. Was it the one on top is a blue?
Yep. Can't remember.
These guys are terrible to farm. That's a blue.
It's not this one, it's the one up here. Well, there's actually 2 on the other side. There's the one in between the here in the lab, and then there's the one that's actually sitting in the water. I think. Hey!
There it is. All right. It was Deep Sea.
That could have gone so much worse.
That really could have.
I mean, we could have farmed like what? Oh my god, there's nowhere close to.
Yeah.
We could have farmed like a majillion more enemies. It could have been bromide. We could have had to go through the train. I mean, I literally could have killed like 80 more enemies before that guy in particular dropped Deep Sinker for us. So this would actually beat the. This is actually going to beat the marathon estimate, which is hilarious.
It's amazing how quick it went from oh god to hey, here we go.
Yeah, we were staring down like a 3-hour seed potentially, and then it all of a sudden just bam, there you go. Hey, the safety actually worked.
Oh,
you have to kill
Jeeble.
Yeah, whoops.
Gotta go fight Jeeble.
Yeah, that's right.
And you do have a teleporter right there, so.
Yeah. Getting back down here is a pain, but...
You
At least we've had Accelerator all the way through.
Yeah, for sure. That makes everything so much faster. Vertical movement is awesome, but this is the true speed tech.
Fight you.
Okay, so just like Soten, there's a sub-boss that you have to defeat first. And you have to defeat him by doing his gimmick, which is not actually killing him. Basically the exact same as you would with Richter and Soten. He'll get down to a certain level of HP, and then this red moon
Thing will happen.
is going to animate up top, and then once it turns red, you slash it, and that uncovers the evil that is, controlling it.
And then, well, we'll see.
Yeah, and then you
Yeah,
go
this
into a
should take
special
you
area
16
where you also see this red moon somewhere else in the game, and you do the same thing, and then that lets you into the last area.
Hey, it's my favorite shard. Tepsel Rendo, the lightning shards, the directional shard. I don't know why it's directional, because you really don't need to aim it at auto home, but it is. The upgrade is that Tepsel Renda that he casts, where it just summons a bunch of lightning down and fires off all over you. It can do a little bit of a mini stun lock on some bosses, so it can be pretty useful. But I just like that you're calling down a big giant lightning storm. It's just cool factor.
I'm a big fan too. I love MDC2, so anything that is close to what Storm or Psylocke are up to.
But hey,
I'm
but
in.
at least we don't have to hear.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I mean, if you play against me, then you're gonna hear that a lot. I'm sorry, but
I mean, if you're playing in any kind of Marvel tournament, you're probably gonna hear.
unless you're playing in a ratio tournament, you're definitely
Yeah.
gonna hear that a lot.
Curse you.
So there's the boss that would give us Dimension Shift, and she's at the end of this sequence. But we've already got it, so we won't really
not
see
gonna bother.
her. Yeah.
We're gonna head straight for the final boss gauntlet. If you can call it a gauntlet, it's just two bosses.
Yeah. Probably T-minus 5 minutes, maybe less. Depends on how much I get hit here. Oops.
And we're actually gonna literally just skip right past the boss gauntlet.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest gambles actually in the normal version of the randomizer that we play, because he drops a purple, and there's a couple other purple drops down here. Main issue though is that if you wait and gamble on getting this in front of him, you can skip him. So there's two schools of thought. People come down here, they do the fight, or they you cannot go through the floor, right? Yeah, it's too thick. So yeah, and that often happens to me when I lose races. If it's any person, if like all skill being equal, I'll usually end up going saving this area for last, and then this place has glasses and it has Dimension Shift.
Now, you did mention skill. When we have the races, it's not all skill based.
Yeah, there's so much random stuff here. Obviously,
The amount of RNG in the game allows for pretty much anybody to win. I've beaten one of our best players in a race before. I curb stomped him.
yeah, you're definitely not
And
going to
he's
win
just
like
like,
a tournament where it's like, best 2 out of 3 or best 3 out of 5 or whatever, because eventually like things will line up and the better skill will prevail. But that's like every randomizer tournament, really. In a single race, anybody can beat anybody for sure.
In a
Especially when you
series-
factor in with us the percent drop rate on shards. Like if you get that luck, it doesn't matter like necessarily what route you take. You could just win off of that alone.
Yeah, there's been times where somebody's hit one of the one of the enemies is with a lower percentage rate has had Dimension Shift. Somebody's walked up, popped it the first time. Another person spent 20 minutes just farming that one, and in the time it took them to farm and get Dimension Shift, the other person's already.
Yep.
You can just. All right. Yeah, Bulleye Lock's probably the best call here. I hate that. Oh, Void Ray's doing pretty good damage. Going for the curse?
Yeah. She's got to actually
So this
get
is Dominique. In same type shuffle, she is a major problem. Even the boss afterwards usually isn't as much as a problem as Dominique. You didn't see any of her melee attacks, but she has an elbow that she can, when it comes up, she can just store it for later and just kind of bring it out at random. There are ways of baiting it, but it takes a lot.
Yeah, we fight her usually much more under level with a lot less options.
There's times when the default game expects you to run into her at around level 55, 60, I think is the normal.
Something like that, yeah.
In same type shuffle, you can run into her at level 12.
Yeah, the game really assumes like you're gonna learn everything. You're gonna, do all this homework, and then also you're gonna like grind enemies and all sorts of stuff that are traditional with RPGs. But this is a platformer, so it has RPG elements, a lot of them.
Oh yeah, we got some good ticks on that shard. But we did get what we do consider to be the worst of the RNG, because any of those three Dominique can pop up in any of those three.
Yep. It can never repeat, but it's completely random.
Cat's considered worst, Frog is considered best. The red demon head that we tend to refer to as the landlord. I don't know why we do, but we do.
Oh, I know why. It's because all landlords are demons.
Oh yeah,
That's
okay,
why.
yeah. Easy one cycle. We're powered enough that it didn't really matter. So,
Yep.
But 136.41 on the in-game timer, which is tied to all that.
Yeah, it's tied to
And
frame rate, so it's not exactly precise. I did do a quick save and reset to fix that audio glitch, so you probably had like a minute and a half onto that for real
yeah,
time.
stream's been going for about an hour 47, so we're well within estimate.
Yeah, I think if you look at the schedule, the upgrade goes to 2 hours for a MC, and then we're at 140 for worst case scenario STF. So yeah, that was good. Thanks to everybody in the community. Thanks to the marathon for having us and reaching out to us actually to be a part of it. It kind of like reignited some of us to play. Like Yeezy mentioned, the 1.5 era was a pretty dark time. Nobody wanted to play because you would just lose a run 35% or 40% of the time to a soft lock or whatever. And since that's been fixed, we've been playing a bit more. And now I think with the announcement of the sequel, we're going to get a lot more people back and interested. So we've got a Discord. You can check it out. You can join it. And there's also a general speedrunning Discord. So if you like the base game, want to speedrun that, there's one for that as well. And all other Bloodstained games, including the Curse, the 8-bit games and stuff like that. So you can join all that. And this is where I'll say the thank yous that I will have written down at a later point. Specifically thanking specific community members that were huge in getting all of us into this game. And yeah, that's probably where it's going to go, because we're going to want to give the next person, as much time as possible, because it's an all randomizer marathon. So there's a lot more RNG involved, and I'm sure the timing is going to be all over the place.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there you go. There's practice. I'm going to do one more practice tomorrow, and then it's off to the marathon.
Yeah. You got a day of travel and then a little bit of time to hang out for the
Yeah,
run.
thankfully for me, it's about a 6-hour drive, 6.5. So I'll get there. Yes,
That's not the worst.
No, it's okay. I was the closest. I was pretty much the only person in the community willing to go that also was in driving distance. So, it's one of those step up, put up or shut up moments.
Wouldn't Marks have been? Well, he probably couldn't get the time off with.
Right.
the
Yeah.
North
Well,
Patriots.
is he in Indiana? I can't remember.
I thought he was in Pennsylvania.
Oh, sure. Yeah, then he would be closer, no matter where in Pennsylvania he was. Well, if he was in super far east Pennsylvania, like Philadelphia, he might not be closer. He might be about even. It depends on, because Charleston's all the way at the south of West Virginia on the river. So,
I know the one person that would never make it as Frank.
yeah, right. Well,
That
news.
would really be greetings from Germany.
Yeah, we gotta remember to plug that 1 week after this run, Axel, one of our best players, will be running it again on a bonus stream remotely, because he's in California, and I think I'm joining commentary for that. So you'll get a double dose of Bloodstained if you want to tune in for it, which is cool. if we would have coordinated this better, I would be probably running STS guaranteed, and then he would be running Max or vice versa, so you'd see both. But odds are we're gonna get upgraded, and you're just gonna see 2 maximums. So, but yeah, I've got YouTube and Twitch and all that, and I've got guides up and everything on how to. Not really like about the. I have guides about the basic mechanics of the game. I'm pretty sure I do.
Yeah.
I recorded them so long ago. I should probably re-record them all. I'm bad at editing, so they're all done in one take. But I pretty much cover. I think there's 3. There's basic stuff. There's the randomizer stuff, and then the third one is like all of the locations of all the enemies and like where the best farming spots are. So it's basically for max chaos, but like there's STS applications because anything that drops a purple, the farming spot is still the best farming spot or whatever, for that particular enemy or whatever. So yeah, there you go. The game's available on all platforms, including mobile. I wouldn't buy it there, but you can buy it there if you want. On PC, you have a bunch of options too. Yeah, it's not upgraded.
Artplay got scammed on that one.
Yeah. So definitely check it out. Like I said, we run the built-in randomizer. This is a feature that's in the game. So you can race with your friends. You can just fire it up and play. And that seed at the beginning, if anybody wants to try out what I just played, at your own pace, you can go ahead and do that and, have a good time. On PC, you have several options. You can buy DRM free copies. You have a lot of different storefronts. So however you want to play the game, it's available. I would just skip PS5 and mobile for sure. Any other platform, you should be okay. And I think that's it from us.
And actually, that reminded me we need to ask in chat in the randomizer Discord if anybody has gotten a Switch 2 and tried this game yet.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I'm wondering that if you play on Switch 2, if you're able to play it at 60 FPS. So I don't know if the game's locked to 30 because of the hardware, or if the Switch port is just locked because of the hardware, or who knows. Yeah. We have to find somebody with a Switch 2.
This game is miserable at 30 frames per second.
Yeah. Like many games, many of the mechanics are tied to the FPS, and for better or for worse. Some things are easier at low FPS. A lot of things are easier at very, very high FPS. So, yeah, that's that. At work tomorrow, I will write up what we're actually going to say at the end here.
Yeah.
And, well, not all of it, of course, but it depends, I guess, on how fast we are. If we have extra time at the end, we definitely want to give it back to the marathon, but also we'll have a longer list of people to thank and shout outs to make if we have like 5 spare minutes as opposed to like 1 or 2. So yeah, that's that. Credits are super long. Have fun with this. And yeah, if you have any questions for us, join the Discord, send us DMs, do whatever you got to do.
I was just thinking back on it. This is the third, like, me being in on voice on this one.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 of the seeds have just gone completely different directions.
Yeah, that's true. We've had
I mean, there's things we talked about in one seed that just not even remotely come up in another seed. Like I'm saying that because I noticed the whole fairy singing on the piano thing. I talked about that in the first practice seed, but it just didn't come up at all in the other 2.
Right. Yeah, Max especially. There's just in Max you'll see a lot of the castle, but the way you will see it is almost always different. STS you get well, that's why we play. That's why it's the main category. It's way more consistent, less volatile. Yeah. You can have a longer seed, but you're also going to get your fair share of potential jets. So, all right.
Okay.
Practice session done.
Right, yeah, practice session done. I got more GDQ related emails to fire off.
Heck yeah, that's right. Yeah, are you working that?
So the fun bit for me is I've got a tentative game list to work off of. So as long as we can get a couple things up and running, we'll be good to go on that. I get to go up on 4th of July, load in on setup on 5th, drive the box truck back on 6th, go to work the entire week, drive back up on the Friday, be there for Saturday to break down and load it into the truck, and then drive back down. I'll be home on Sunday.
Oh, cool.
So I'll get like 6, maybe aside from sleep, I'll get there maybe 5 or 6 hours of hanging.
Yeah, so
entire
you're
time.
working it in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, unfortunate. Is it
I'm
is it in
working it to
Minnesota
go
again?
home to work, to go back and go work.
Is it
It's
in
just,
Minnesota again this year? Or?
Yeah, it's in Minneapolis.
Okay, cool.
Luckily, I got somebody to hang out there for the entire week, so it's not like I'm.
Yeah, it's unfortunately from where I'm at, getting there is like driving around's awful. So flight is your only real option. Ferries are so expensive; it's not even worth it. You're better off just buying a plane ticket.
Well, the box truck I have to drive is limited to 65 miles an hour, so I'm going even slower.
No, that's fantastic.
And I have to stop at way stations.
Right.
So I catch all of it, but a lot of the time the way station bases will just be like, "You're a box truck. Why did you stop?"
Because I have to by law, and I'm not messing around in this this day and age.
Yeah, I have to by law. I've actually gotten safety inspected once.
I mean, if they're that bored, sure,
They were just pulling it was the closest one to where I'm based, and they were just taking every box truck, and the officer was like, this is a C truck. And I go, yeah, I know. He's like, what? Oh, I mean, you have a B. Why don't you have a B truck? It's like, I don't need the B truck, and it's more expensive to rent.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Oh man. All right, cool. Well, if you can get in on the one tomorrow, awesome. If not, no big deal. I think we're good. I'm gonna add the seed dialogue to the opening, and I don't anticipate being all that busy tomorrow. Knock on wood. So I will write up even if I am busy at work, I can do it after I get home. So I'll write up a little closing bit with the important stuff at the front, and then more stuff at the back that we can skip if we're pressed for time. And I have, let me just check my notes real quick. I have the Seed Rainbow vetted, which is, I guess, doesn't have has go mode early, like the one we had the first, but then, or I don't know what that means in particular. I might not get lucky, and I might skip past the dimension shift dropping enemy. So who knows? Yeah. And then I think I've got one that Axel did that is mid-length, and there's spoilers in the completed Seeds channel, but I have not looked at them. So I have those two, and then I have the STS one you gave me. So I think that's good enough. I think what I'll do is the ones that I practiced and discovered that were good, I will use to play again in the practice room, so I can actually get practice knowing that I can complete what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, my plan is get in. So I'm leaving probably around 9:30, just so that I can let rush hour kind of like peter out, so that I miss most of it. On Thursday, I'm driving. Check-in time at the hotel is around 3, so there you go. And then I'm going to check out the venue, install the game on a practice PC. Most likely, I have 2 different USBs with the DRM free copy. And then I'll probably hang out Thursday. I'll play a seed at night. Kind of like hit up their Discord and let everybody know that, if anybody wants to check out the game, learn the game, talk to me, I'll make myself available. And then, because I'm not going to have anybody that I've ever met before here, so I'll probably try to make some friends, but also they are playing some stuff on Thursday. The Thursday is a pre-show, so I think from about 10 a.m. to whenever the Thursday schedule lasts, there will be some runs. So, and maybe some for the first round of the tournament that's self-contained at the event. So I might check out some of that as well. And then Friday, it's going to be a pretty standard thing, like get up, practice, eat, practice, probably practice again, and then our runs.
Try not to burn out.
Yeah, our run's pretty late in the evening. I'm feeling a lot better since sorting a bunch of shit out, so I feel pretty good. Yeah, I'll probably just play some STSs for practice to make sure that I don't have to overload my mental stack or anything. But yeah, and then after the run Friday, I'm just gonna stay for the rest of the event and enjoy it. So you'll see me probably sitting in the crowd if you watch any of the other parts of the event, or if you're gonna be there, play some Magic, get some food, whatever. I'm gonna try to just enjoy it because this year I don't have a full vacation. I have this little mini vacation, and then I have a mini vacation later in the summer, where I'm only off for about 6 days here and 3 days there. So yeah, my vacation is being broken up, and I'm paying for all of it. So no time off as a contractor paid, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna go handle some stuff around the house before I hit the end of the night. So I'll definitely catch you on Friday. I probably won't be able to swing back in. So yeah, just
for sure. Yeah.
don't go too hard. Don't burn yourself out.
Yeah, I'll send you Discord messages. I'm pretty sure all you have to do is just get into the server and
Yeah, and I'm in the server. So
yeah, just sit there. And then when I don't know how it's gonna go down. I think Thursday as well. If I get a chance to meet organizers picking up my badge or whatever, since I'm running, I'm sure they'll either have a meeting, maybe Thursday night or Friday morning or something, or they'll like individually just talk to people and say, hey, come. Like, what's the expectation? I'm assuming it's be there an hour beforehand, and blah 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 or whatever. Who knows? So, yeah, I'll keep you updated. I'm pretty sure all you'll have to do is just join any voice channel, and then they'll just pull you into one of the locked ones. I'm guessing.
yeah, pretty
So.
standard. So,
Yep.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Catch you later.
See ya.
See ya.
All right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the practice journey. If you've watched any or all of the episodes, I greatly appreciate it. Thanks to Yeezy for jumping on commentary and doing commentary at the event. It's a lot easier to do it while having somebody else helping you because it's a randomizer and the game's huge. So, especially playing the max seeds where you have to keep track of a lot of stuff. That's really nice to have. And I'm going to get one more in tomorrow. I'll probably just play a couple STSs just to make sure that that's fresh in my brain as well. And, I'll get off of work in the mid-afternoon. The weather's nice. I do a quick cardio walk around the neighborhood, and then I'll jump on and play one or two of those. And then, yeah, like I said, we're traveling Thursday. The run is Friday night, and then I'm staying for the rest of the event. So if you're interested, the link is in the description or title of, I think it's in the description of every YouTube video. I've been putting in the description of every YouTube video. So there's a link that's Final Fantasy Randomizer wiki, and that page has the schedule, the charity, the Twitch stream. The Discord permanent link does not work, but you can just search Final Fantasy Randomizer on Discord to find their Discord. You can join that. All that stuff is there. I believe they're also on Blue Sky for social media. Yeah, that's it. This has been a lot of fun. It's been a nice challenge. It's been a motivator for the last couple months. And I'm also excited to commentate on the bonus run the week after. So if you can't tune in this Friday, or stay home. It's Friday the 13th. Don't take a chance. Just stay home and watch FFR. And and then the weekend after that, definitely tune back in for the bonus stream, which will be a little bit later, I think, but it's going to be a good one. It's going to be max chaos guaranteed, and one of our best players is going to be playing. So you're going to see better combat. You're going to see some more secret tech, probably, depending on what drops. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming along on the practice journey. I don't know if I'll be allowed to re-upload the VOD of my run to my own channel or not, but if I'm not, I'll just do a react video none of my stuff's monetized, so if not, once I get home later in that week, probably maybe the day before, or the day of probably not the day of, because I want to save my voice for the commentary, but probably the day before, after I get home from work, I will do a reaction of my run, probably on mute, just so we don't have to hear any of the jibber jabber. But just talking about the event, my run, the experience, and all that, and then that can serve as like the run being up on my channel. Yep, cool. All right, that's it for me, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And the last thing I'll say is if you ever get the chance to participate in an event like this, you should definitely take it. Even if you don't get a run in, it's worth practicing. It's worth submitting, and being a part of it. You never know what can happen. You'll meet cool people. You could grow your games community. You might even be able to, you know, find an excuse to take a nice vacation, visit a city you've never been to before, or a country or whatever. There's a lot of these small events out there. They don't get the amount of attention that like the GDQs of the world do. But the speedrunning is way more mainstream than it's ever been, and a lot of these small events are super important. They raise a lot of money. They are really cool, like some of the most interesting convention type stuff that I'm interested in, and I'm looking forward to going to one. It's been a long time since I've been to a convention that's not like anime fighting game related, so I'm gonna enjoy myself. Explore a area of the country that I've been to before, but I was not old enough to enjoy. And yeah, just have a good time. So, you know, even if you end up as a host or a commentator, volunteer, not running the game, all those people are important. Without everybody working together, the marathon events don't happen. So, if you ever get the chance to participate in one of these things, or even just go as a spectator, I could not recommend it enough. And I never thought I'd be running in an event like this. I never thought I'd be even commentating in an event. And here I am. So, if I can do it, anybody can. And I encourage you to try. All right. Take care, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow for the last and final episode. And then after that, we'll see you live at Final Fantasy Randomizer Summer 2025. Take care.